The man suddenly discovered an easy way to make money by pretending to be blind. That way, he could sit outside a temple and beg openly, earning 3 times more than everyone else. Even when crossing the street, kind strangers would help him. He even got a free apartment from the government just for being a disabled citizen, but that wasn't the end of it. He also used his identity as a pianist to play music in people's homes. Because no one suspects a blind man, he often got to peek at the private lives of wealthy housewives. But little did he know, pretending to be blind would become the biggest regret of his life. That day, he went like always, to play for a rich woman's birthday. But when she opened the door, she didn't seem happy to see him. She claimed he must have gotten the time wrong. But Mark said he had already received a deposit from her husband, and there was a balance still to come after the show. There's no way he got it wrong. As they argued, nosy neighbor ladies started watching from across the street. Not wanting to draw more attention, the woman reluctantly let him in. Once she was sure Mark was really blind, she relaxed and let him sit at the piano. But after just a few notes, Mark was stunned by what he saw, a dead body lying right there in the living room. Now he understood why. She hadn't wanted him inside, but he couldn't let his fear show. He made an excuse to go to the bathroom. On the way, he deliberately stepped in the spilled red wine to make himself look more convincingly blind. He thought the bathroom would be a place to collect himself, but that turned out to be the scariest part. The killer was standing right behind him, holding a gun. Mark didn't even dare to breathe, terrified he'd get exposed and silenced. Luckily, the killer didn't suspect a thing. As Mark walked back past the body, he realized it was the rich husband himself. Terrified inside, he forced himself to keep playing the piano. Meanwhile, the woman pretended to call her husband, saying he'd be home in 10 minutes. Right in front of Mark, they casually started disposing of the body. Soon the killer had the body stuffed into a suitcase, ready to make it disappear. The wife stood at the door, faking a warm welcome home scene. Then Anna played a recording of her husband's voice, pretending to have a conversation with him. But after a few lines, she claimed her husband had an emergency and had to step out. Then the man put on the husband's clothes, grabbed the suitcase, and walked out of the house. Mark didn't go straight home. He sat on a bench debating whether or not to go to the police. The man who died wasn't just anyone, he was a local philanthropist. Every time he visited the bar where Mark performed, he tipped generously and treated Mark kindly. Just yesterday, they were laughing together, and now his wife had murdered him. Maybe it was fate, but Mark decided to go to the police. He was going to get justice for the man. But the moment he stepped into the station and said, "I want to report a murder," he saw him, the man from the bathroom.